From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. A federal judge has set a March 4th, 2024 trial date for former President Donald Trump. He is accused of illegally trying to prevent a peaceful transfer of power. Trump sought a 2-year delay for the trial, which falls amid the Republican primary season, one day before Super Tuesday. He is also charged in 3 other cases. Trump and 18 others are scheduled to be arraigned September 6th in Georgia on charges they participated in a wide-ranging illegal scheme to rig the 2020 election results. The ex-president was taken into custody Thursday night and photographed scowling into the camera. All but one of the defendants agreed in advance with Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis on bail amounts and conditions. Andros-Scoggin Bank in Lewiston, Maine has a solution for devout Muslims to own homes without paying interest. Bank CEO Neil Keeley says denying home ownership to Maine's Muslim residents can have a negative impact on their economic participation. Maine has a growing Muslim population, which is primarily composed of immigrants from countries such as Somalia, Afghanistan, and Iran. Islamic law does not allow Muslims to pay interest on loans, which limits their access to home ownership in the conventional American banking system. Andros-Scoggin Bank spent more than a year developing a mortgage product in line with Islamic principles. It introduced an arrangement known as ijara, in which the bank buys a property and the customer rents it. A portion of each payment contributes to the tenant eventually becoming the owner of the property. Full ownership is granted only after the loan amount is paid off. Keeley emphasized these mortgages are economically equivalent to conventional mortgages. Violent clashes broke out Sunday between those who support asylum seekers and opponents in New York City. Several people were taken into custody at the protest site. Guardian Angels founder Curtis Silva, who proposed housing for asylum seekers on Rikers Island, was also arrested. Mayor Eric Adams' office has said more than 3,000 sites for migrant housing are being considered, and all options, including Rikers, are up for debate. His office said New York City has been left largely alone in dealing with the migrant crisis. The mayor's office said the city has opened 206 sites, including 15 large-scale humanitarian relief centers, and is looking for new places to shelter asylum seekers. Researchers have found evidence that white-tailed deer in Ohio are infected with the COVID-19 virus. A study published in Nature Communications says the phenomenon suggests more frequent transmission between humans and animals. For the study, over 1,000 nasal swabs were collected from wild deer in more than 8 of Ohio's 88 counties between November 2021 and March 2022. Analysis revealed more than 10% of these samples contained coronavirus. Genetic analysis of the virus revealed about 30 infections in deer could be traced to human sources. Researchers also tested blood samples for antibodies indicating previous virus exposure. They estimated over 20% of Ohio's deer population had been infected at some point. Research suggests white-tailed deer act as a reservoir for coronavirus, allowing the virus to mutate rapidly within its population. Strains of the virus, including the original Alpha and Delta variants, remain common among deer despite their decline in the human population. German police have recorded over 250 Islamophobic crimes in the first half of 2023. Over 10 mosques were attacked and dozens of Muslims were physically assaulted or verbally harassed. The German Interior Ministry published the figures in response to a parliamentary question from the opposition Left Party. Most of the crimes were committed in the eastern states, but numerous attacks were also recorded in Berlin, Cologne, Frankfurt, and Munich. No arrests have yet been made, but criminal investigations have been launched against several suspects. In recent years, racism and xenophobia have increased in Germany, fueled by propaganda from far-right groups. The most common type of Islamophobic crime was verbal harassment, followed by physical assault and vandalism. The majority of the victims were Muslim women. Attacks were often motivated by hatred of Islam and Muslims. The German government has condemned Islamophobic crimes and pledged to do more to protect Muslims. Germany has the second largest Muslim population in Western Europe after France. Official figures show nearly 5 million Muslims live there out of a population of 84 million. Bosnia commemorates anniversary of Market Massacre. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Bosnia commemorated the 28th anniversary of the bombing of the Sarajevo market on Monday. It was one of the bloodiest massacres perpetrated by Bosnian Serb forces during the siege of Sarajevo. The attack on the morning of August 28, 1995, killed 43 people and injured nearly 84. Many of the victims were women and children. Family members of the victims, survivors, and politicians attended a ceremony in the capital, Sarajevo, to commemorate the tragedy. Speakers condemned the attack and called for the perpetrators to be brought to justice. They also stressed the importance of peace and reconciliation in Bosnia and Herzegovina. An earlier attack on the same marketplace took place in February 1994, killing 68 people and wounding 150 others. Israel launched an airstrike against Aleppo International Airport in northern Syria. The country's national Sana news agency reports Israeli warplanes fired missiles from over the Mediterranean Sea west of the coastal city of Latakia. The attack caused heavy damage to the airport's runway, putting it out of service. No reports were yet available of casualties. The Syrian Transport Ministry says scheduled flights have been diverted from Aleppo Airport to Damascus and Latakia airports. Israel has repeatedly carried out strikes on Syria, targeting forces of the Bashar al-Assad regime and groups affiliated with Iran. An international media watchdog has called on the Indian government to release Kashmiri journalist Asif Sultan. The Committee to Protect Journalists said on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, that Sultan has spent 5 years in prison. They say he faces multiple charges under draconian security laws in retaliation for his work. Sultan has been detained since August 2018, first under the Anti-Terrorism Law, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, and later under the Jammu and Kashmir Public Safety Act. The latter law allows preventive detention without trial. Police have accused him of harboring militants and advocating the idea of separatism through articles. Sultan's family and editor have vehemently denied the allegations. On April 5th last year, a special court granted Sultan bail in the anti-terror case. The court ruled the state had not presented evidence linking him to a militant organization. But 5 days later, he was detained again under a different law. According to his family, Sultan is being held in Ambedkar Nagar Central Jail in northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. China and Arab nations have signed a deal to establish an international research center to fight drought, desertification, and land degradation. Chinese media report that a memorandum of understanding was inked at the Kubuki International Desert Forum in Ordos, Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region on Saturday. China's National Forestry and Grassland Administration and the Secretariat of the League of Arab States launched a plan to plant 10 billion trees in Saudi Arabia. The plan also involves initiating an eco-solar desert control project. Li Hongzhang, part of the Chinese Communist Party's Central Policy-Making Committee, says Beijing is committed to achieving top-notch development in desertification control. By 2030, China will achieve its target of greening 67% of its deserts. Hongzhang says the goal is to achieve the full greening of these areas by 2050. A Dalit teenager in India was allegedly lynched and killed by an upper caste Hindu mob, according to reports in Indian media. The teen's sister was also attacked, and the mother was stripped naked when the two tried to protect him. Dalits are considered untouchables, who are at the bottom of the caste hierarchy of India's social system. The attack occurred in Sagar district in the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh, ruled by the Hindu nationalist Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. Leaders with the opposition Congress Party and other parties are criticizing the BJP government's handling of the case. The sister of the 18-year-old victim alleged some people pressured her to withdraw her complaint, which led to the attack on her. In 2019, the victim's sister had filed a complaint against 4 men, accusing them of threatening and beating her. Police have registered a case against 9 identified people and 3 to 4 unidentified persons. Libyan Foreign Minister Najla al-Mangoush has been dismissed after her controversial meeting with Israeli Foreign Minister Eli Cohen. The meeting sparked protests across Libya. The country's internal security service denied speculation that al-Mangoush would leave the country. However, the service placed her on a travel ban list. The Israeli Foreign Ministry provided information about the meeting a week after it took place in Rome. It drew criticism within Israel, with commentators and opposition politicians questioning the diplomatic implications of the meeting. The Libyan Foreign Ministry said earlier al-Mangoush had refused to meet with an Israeli representative and that the meeting was unofficial. Libya does not recognize Israel and does not maintain diplomatic relations. Libya's 2 legislative bodies, the High Council of State and the House of Representatives, condemned the meeting. The Libyan Presidential Council also called for clarification of the meeting, saying it contradicted foreign policy and national principles. Liberia is considering a carbon offset deal that could lead to the transfer of 10% of its land to a private Emirati company. The proposed deal would give Blue Carbon, which is based in the United Arab Emirates, control over 2 million acres of forested land. The deal stipulates profits from the sale of carbon credits will go disproportionately to the company. Blue Carbon says it intends to generate carbon credits by restoring and protecting land. It would then sell the credits to major polluters to offset emissions. But critics say that could leave local communities out of decisions on how funds are to be allocated. They also say the potential deal violates Liberian laws, including the Land Rights Act of 2019. Additionally, the agreement would prevent Liberia from using the land to meet its own climate goals. Blue Carbon has been criticized for its lack of experience in carbon management and links to oil and gas projects. It has made similar deals with other countries, raising concerns about its intentions and contribution to global climate goals. A Pakistani court on Tuesday suspended the 3-year prison sentence and conviction of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. The 2-judge panel of the Islamabad High Court ordered Khan's release on bail. However, a special court hearing cases under the Official Secrets Act has directed jail authorities to detain Khan and produce him tomorrow in the court. Khan was found guilty on August 5th of failing to disclose gifts received from foreign governments during his tenure as Prime Minister from 2018 to 2022. The Supreme Court found the lower court's verdict was procedurally flawed. Khan has faced more than 100 cases since losing a trust vote in April 2022. He has also been barred from participating in elections for 5 years by the country's election commission. The Supreme Court's ruling today is expected to have an impact on Khan's exclusion from future elections. The former Prime Minister's legal team has filed a new petition with the Supreme Court seeking protection from further arrest in cases filed after his August 5th conviction. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.